NBC's Julie Sirkin joins us from Capitol Hill. Also with us, two former House members, both who served on the Ethics Committee, former Democratic Congresswoman from Maryland, Donna Edwards, and former Republican Congressman from Pennsylvania, Charlie Dent. Julie, today's House Ethics Committee meeting canceled. So what does that mean for this report on Gates?
Yeah, Anna, a source confirming that to me, and seemingly it is because Republicans decided to cancel that full Ethics Committee meeting. You can imagine that they are finding themselves in a weird spot right now. This committee, as I'm sure your other guests can tell you, operates behind closed doors. It is a bipartisan 5-5 split. It is a panel that has spent multiple years investigating the sexual misconduct of Matt Gaetz, alleged drug use as well. This is after the Department of Justice dropped those official decided not to pursue charges against him. Steve Scalise, the #2 House Republican, was actually just asked about this. He said very plainly that President-elect Trump will get the picks he wants on his cabinet. But as for the fate of this report, typically when members hand in their resignation letter, as we know that Gaetz did yesterday, was effective at noon, that means that this investigation and the potential report that would be released dies with it. However, there is precedent. They have released these reports at least twice in the past. So we'll see what happens here.
Julie, what are senators telling you about this report and the confirmation process?
Well, that is why this is so interesting. Senators, both Republicans and Democrats, say they want the report. They need the report in order to make sure that Gaetz is the best possible nominee for Trump. This isn't just my words. These are the words of Republican senators like Kevin Cramer, who said that Matt Gaetz has a very steep hill to climb to get his vote and other votes, too. Watch this.
I have concerns about him, about the way he disrupted and really destroyed the House of Representatives for several months. What he did to a really good speaker in Kevin McCarthy and accomplished nothing except getting rid of him.
Are you going to support him?
Well, he'd have to get past the Judiciary Committee for that. I'd be open to it. But he's got a really steep hill to climb to get lots of votes, including mine.
Anna, this is very clearly the first major test for Republicans on Capitol Hill and Trump, and he's not even in the White House yet. So obviously there are a long 4 years ahead of these guys here. But I talked to a number of Senate Republicans who privately told me there's just no way that they will vote for Gaetz at this stage. I've heard that before from Republicans where they say one thing, especially when it comes to Donald Trump, and end up doing another. Certainly the pressure is going to build. We know that Gaetz, that J.D. Vance have been calling around Senate Republicans trying to do a vibe check to see if they actually will vote against him. And then, of course, there's the question of recess appointments in which Trump wants to adjourn both chambers to try and push these guys through. Leadership is going to push back against that.
All right, Julie Sirkin, you have a lot of work ahead, and you've been doing a great job for us all along. Thank you so much. Congresswoman Edwards, you served in the House Ethics Committee. Usually the work is confidential, as Julie was discussing. But what do you think? Will this report come out?
Well, I think that, the House Ethics Committee conducts really serious investigations. I think inevitably this report is going to come out, and House Republicans really control that. Either it's going to come out directly from the Ethics Committee as a part of its work and may come out through a leak, or it may come out because the senators get their hands on the report for the purposes of confirmation. And so I think it's entirely up to Republicans who probably don't want to be running around the Hill having every reporter ask them whether they think the report should come out or not, and then being attached to the stain that will happen when the details of that report emerge. Best for them to get some distance and to allow the report to come out. And again, there is precedent for that happening, and I would suggest that they do that sooner rather than later, because I wouldn't want to be one of them with a microphone in front of my face asking about the report.
All right, let's ask our Republican on the panel here. Congressman Dent, you chaired the committee. The current chair says he's going to maintain confidentiality, but then this is also a very unusual situation, right, with Gaetz resigning. Do you think that the chair and the other Republicans would agree to release this report? They don't want the stain? They don't want cameras in their face?
Well, I enjoyed serving with Donna Edwards on the Ethics Committee, and she's absolutely correct. That they do serious professional investigations. And it appears to me that this investigation was completed prior to Gaetz's resignation. And so at this point, I do think that Republicans, look, to say that Matt Gaetz is disliked by his House Republican colleagues would be a wild understatement. There is no love for this man among Republicans. And so the fact that Senators Cornyn and Durbin, who as part of the official record, as part of the confirmation process for Matt Gaetz in the Senate, would like to see this report, I think is pretty compelling. And there is there's precedent to release a report after resignation. And of course, it's in the interest of the United States Senate to know as much about this nominee as possible. It's in the interest of the American people to know as much as possible. So I do think that they will ultimately release this report. And by the way, and I think Donna would probably concur with this report is probably very damning. It may recommend sanctions of some sort, reprimand, censure, perhaps expulsion, although that would be moot at this point. So this is going to be damning. And there might be a referral to the Department of Justice for all we know. The Ethics Committee has done that on a few occasions where they've referred their work to the Justice Department. So we don't know what's in there. And I think it's in the interest of the Senate and certainly the American people to find out before this man is considered to become the top law enforcement officer of the United States.
We do know that there were prosecutors looking into some of the allegations that we believe overlap, at least with this House committee report. They declined to bring charges, questions about witness testimony and credibility. Congresswoman Edwards, Democrats are the minority, of course, in both chambers. What are you looking for them to do in this confirmation process?
Well, I think certainly in the Senate, there's a lot of control over that process, and in terms of asking questions of the witnesses. Imagine if you're a senator and you have this report in front of you, you're going to ask Matt Gaetz directly about things that are on the record. In the investigation process, the witnesses who appear before the Ethics Committee do it under deposition and under penalty of perjury, and so. This is going to be a really serious and damning report. I agree with Charlie. And the best thing that the Democratic senators can do is continue to press for this open hearing and aggressive questioning of Matt Gaetz. I don't think he's fit to serve as Attorney General. And Democrats and Republicans are going to have to come together to make that decision.
I can't help but wonder, Congressman Dent, because we've seen, some questioning of Trump's picks by Republican lawmakers, but will any actual votes against confirmation end up happening, or will they face just so much pressure and worry too much about political repercussions of, getting on Trump's bad side?
Well, in the case of Matt Gaetz, I happen to think that this nomination will be withdrawn at some point. It's clear. I mean, when you did in your lead up to this segment, you were playing Senator Kevin Cramer. If Gaetz doesn't have Kevin Cramer, I can assure you he doesn't have a lot of other members. So many of them dislike Matt Gaetz. I mean, we can't forget that. We just can't forget it. And I can see many members voting against him. I think this thing is dead in the water. I'm just shocked that this is a gobsmackingly bad nomination. I'm shocked it came. In Trump world, we're used to all kinds of shocks and surprises, but this is really beyond the pale.
I wonder, Congressman Dent, do you see any through line with these picks from Trump, from somebody like a Marco Rubio to Matt Gaetz?
Well, yeah, look, some of the, Marco Rubio, is certain Mike Waltz. These are all people who are well within the mainstream and, are experienced and serious people. Lee Zeldin, I was surprised that he was nominated for EPA, but a serious person. So, some of these appointments are serious and, I think will go through as they should. And others, like this one, and RFK Jr., are highly problematic, to say the least, and really it seems like Trump is trying to take a blowtorch to the government with some of these nominations, and that's what is so alarming. He has a mandate of sorts, to secure the border, to deal with the economy, try to bring inflation under control. I don't think he has a mandate, to take vengeance, retribution against his enemies and using folks like this, to carry out his will.
Former Congress members Donna Edwards and Charlie Dent, thank you both very much. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Next here on Ana Cabrera Reports, Trump taps his personal defense lawyers for top jobs at the DOJ. What it could mean if Matt Gaetz has trouble getting confirmed for Attorney General. Plus, Elon Musk meeting